Well, time now to return to Mutarama on Park Avenue and Wally Ballou.
Mutarama, again, speaking with Hiram Hensinger, who is the founder of this dog institution. We had a delicious meal a while ago, Hiram. I do want to thank you for that.
Glad you enjoyed it.
And now we're about to listen to one of America's leading canine educationalists, Professor Yvette Shatner, teaching a class of dog owners and their dogs' obedience commands.
Will the white French poodle with the show cut please sit down?
You talking to me, Teach?
Well, are you the white French poodle or aren't you?
No, I'm Mr. Wilberforce. My dog's name is H.
Sit down anyway.
Okay.
All right. Will the German Shepherd come out, please, in the center of the room now?
Jawohl.
All right. Fine. Now, you all notice how he came right out with the dog. Will the black Scotty dog come out?
Good, man. All right, I will.
Now, the Mexican Chihuahua
See?
and the Great Dane sit down.
Jawohl. Well, all right.
All right. Now, the English Bulldog come out, please. Now, just a moment. Let the German Shepherd return, the Mexican Chihuahua go back, and would the Afghan Hound come out? All right. And give the command to sit and to stay.
When are we going to get our report cards, Teacher?
Well, when dogs perform badly, that means dogs flunk, you know.
I guess I got a few more weeks to go, huh?
All right, I think that's about... All right, now, heel. That's it. Good boy. Sit, stay. Sit. Will the boxer please come out?
Could you tell us what you're doing right now, Miss Shatner? Our time is running a little bit short, I'm afraid.
What command should I give for my St. Bernard when he goes for somebody, Teacher?
Tell him to drop dead. I'm quitting this. I've never worked with a group of stupid people like this.
Well,
this is the dumbest class of dogs I've ever had.
Miss Shatner seems to have an unruly class here. So, as a load of bedlam begins to creep
Look out,
down,
Mr. Ballou!
this is what Ballou. Return down, boy. Returning it to
Somebody take
Bob.
that dog off his ankle.
Now another episode of One Fella's Family, brought to you as a public service by the Be Kind to One Another Committee. Today's episode, entitled A Message Arrives, is taken from Book IV, Chapter VI, pages IV through VI. As we look in on the family, we see Father inside the foyer.
I'm standing just inside the foyer.
I know. What are you doing out there?
Well, I was looking for my rosebush trimmers.
Well, they wouldn't be in the foyer. Probably you left them out in the garage.
Well, I can't remember where I put them last fall when I finished trimming the roses. They should be around here somewhere. Not too early to trim the rose bushes.
Why don't you leave the rose bushes alone? Can't you think of anything else to do?
It's the only way we'll get full bloomers, Fanny, is to trim them early and often.
I know, but you trimmed them practically down to the nub last fall.
Wait. Someone's coming up the front walk. Looks like a messenger boy of some sort. He'll be ringing the bell any moment now.
Well, why don't you open it?
Yes?
You the old man here?
I'm Father Butcher.
I've got a message for you.
All right. Do I have to sign for it?
Would you please, here, right where I've made the penciled X.
T-H-E-R. B-U-T-C-H-E-R.
Have you, forgotten anything?
You mean the tip?
That's what I mean, yeah, tip.
No, I didn't forget it. It's a message, Fanny.
I wonder who it could be from.
Looks like it's in Jack's handwriting.
Well, open it up.
Yeah.
I get so nervous when those special delivery letters arrive.
That's what it is. It's a message from Jack.
What does he say?
I haven't read it yet, Fanny. That's peculiar. Both sides of the paper are
You
blank.
sure you haven't forgotten anything?
Huh?
Anything, forgotten anything?
You mean a tip?
Tip, yeah.
No. Didn't forget it. Yes, it is from Jack.
You never do give tips, do you?
Listen to this, Fanny. Jack's in San Francisco.
Oh, Isn't that wonderful news? Jack is in San Francisco.
Fendi, Fendi, Fendi.
And so concludes another episode of One Fella's Family, brought to you by the Be Kind to One Another Committee. Today's episode, entitled A Message Arrives, was taken from Book IV, Chapter VI, pages IV through VI. One Fella's Family is written and produced by T. Wilson Messy. Why don't you read your lines a little better, you old gaffer?
I think right now we should play those tapes that were brought in by Wally Ballou.
That's right. This is the 4th of July parade description that Wally and his broadcasting partner, Artie Skirmahorn, covered. Was this on the air at all, this broadcast?
It was made for use today. I haven't heard it, though.
Okay. Well, is the tape ready to go? Okay, let's hear it.
This is radio's highly regarded Wally Ballou, winner of 16 Diction Awards, greeting you from the 4th of July parade here in New York City. Before describing any of the activity here, I'd like to introduce and call in from his vantage point my broadcasting partner, Artie Skirmahorn. Can you hear me, Art?
Skirmahorn here. Thank you, Wally. Yes, this is Artie Skirmahorn, here to assist Wally Ballou in the broadcast of the annual 4th of July parade. I see a...
Excuse me, Artie, this is Wally Ballou again. From my vantage point, I hated to interrupt you, but there is a band rounding the corner, heading across. Let's go down and pick up... No, I'm afraid we missed that music. Is there anything going on at your point, Artie?
Up at this end, Wally, we have a group of children parading by now, and there's, yes, a band in back of them. So, engineer, let's swing down and... Same thing seems to have happened here, Wally. Back to your vantage point.
Better luck next time, Artie Skirmahorn. Oh, wait a minute. There is a band now, and I think if we swing our parabolic microphone down, we'll catch it. A little bit. Fine. Artie, can you describe the view that you're looking at right now?
Hello? Yes, Wally, I could. It is a beautiful day. I can count, let me see, must be 1, 2, maybe 15 bricks placed one on top of the other. And this has been carried on in some sort of a sequence so as to make what I would call a wall.
Artie, excuse me, this is Ballou again. I think you're describing the wall. If you turn around, I think the parade is behind you, Art. Will you try that, please?
Right, you're so right, Wally, that's true. And there's a band coming, so let's swing down now and pick up some of that exciting martial music, shall we?
You missed most of that, Artie. This is Wally Ballou, back at my vantage point. Right now, there seems to be some trouble. 44th Street heads into...
Let me interrupt just a moment. There is a break here on 44th Street. It doesn't carry all the way through. It's necessary for the route of march to go through Grand Central Terminal. So that will be a delay, more or less.
Well, what do you think of that?
I don't think we should put it on the air at all.
No.
So, they didn't cover anything.
No, I don't think we'll broadcast that. Anyway, that was the big 4th of July parade.
Here with us again today is the author of several best-selling children's books, hails from Nutley, New Jersey, I believe, and his name is Mr. August T. May. August, it's a very great pleasure to have you back here again with us by popular demand.
It is a pleasure to be here. Look, I am wearing my new summer suit. See? Mm-hmm. It is a lightweight suit. My summer suit is lightweight, and it is gray.
Cool, too, I'll bet, huh?
My summer suit is cool, too. See? Look. See my new summer suit? It's cool.
Okay, August T. May. Well,
gray.
now we've...
It's lightweight. Look, I can run and dance and play in my new summer suit.
Okay, we've established that. You have a new suit.
It is gray.
And it's gray, and it's very comfortable, very cool for warm weather like this. Now, what brings you here today, particularly?
Well, I just finished a new book. Look here in my hand. See? The cover of my new book?
Hey, that is a book by you.
Look, the title. The Day the Tree Cried.
The
See?
Day the Tree Cried.
See the tree? Mm-hmm. Now, look at the tree.
It's weeping.
The tree is weeping.
It's a weeping willow, isn't it?
Yes, the tree is a weeping willow. So the tree is crying. Look at the poor tree. I wish that poor tree would stop crying.
August, if I could
I would
interrupt...
rather see that tree laugh and play.
Is this part of your book you're reciting, or... I mean, it sounds... I don't want to interrupt and give away the whole story of the weeping willow tree, but...
Well, it's about a tree.
How did you
The story
happen...
I wrote is concerned principally with a tree.
Uh-huh.
Ah, look at that tree.
The day the tree cried. How did you happen to get the idea for this? Were you traveling around out in the country, or did it just come to you while you were at home?
The idea came to me very rapidly. It's funny. Ideas come quickly to me.
Mm-hmm.
An idea, you know, is a brainstorm.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a brainstorm.
And you have...
My brainstorm told me that I should write a book. And I chose as my subject a tree. Oh, a poor tree that cries. Oh, my. I wish that poor tree would stop crying. I would much prefer to have a tree laugh and play and smile.
Can you tell us this, just without giving away too much of the plot? Does the tree smile in the end of the book, or does it...
Yes, the tree smiles. This is a happy book. This book has a very happy ending. I'm sure that all my readers prefer a book with a happy ending. That's why I write books with happy endings.
Okay, August T. May, children's book writer.
Now I must go run and play again with Gina.
Where are you going this evening? You have a date, do you?
Look, I'm running and playing with Gina Lola Bridgeter.
Oh,
look,
get
I'm
out.
holding her hand, and she is holding my
August T.
hand.
May, ladies and gentlemen.
Come, Gina, run this way. Ah, I'm running and dancing and playing
Right
with
out
Gina.
through there. That's fine. Very good. And I think while we clear the air here, we can...
Yes, I'm running and dancing and playing and laughing. That serves to introduce Charlie Wendelkin, who is Bob and Ray's travel editor. He's here now to answer mail sent in by you, the listener. Would you cut out the music? Thank you. Thank you very much. Here's one from 78-year-old Lottie Devigny-Du, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, of Catalina Island in California. And she says, March 31st is Kite Flying Day in Bermuda. Would you recommend going there to see it? Charlie?
Oh, I beg your pardon, Ray. I didn't hear the question. I was finishing my fried clams.
Oh, my word. This lady out in California would like to know if Kite Flying Day in Bermuda, is something that you would recommend.
Yes, definitely, I would.
Wait a minute, there's a P.S. down here. She says she doesn't care much for kites.
Well, kite flying, as you probably know, is an acquired taste. And I'd recommend she run around a bit with a kite behind before she goes, and she might be very surprised to find that she's become quite a kite fan.
Uh-huh. Okay. A man from Salina or Salina, Kansas. Who can help me with that?
Salina.
Writes, what about Buffalo...
Or Salina. It's one or the other.
Well, anyway, he writes and says, what about Buffalo, New York?
What about it?
Well, he just wants to know...
It was incorporated in 1832, had 343,000 and some odd telephones in 1958. It's ranked 15th in the nation in population, has 10 public parks, and its highest point is 680 feet above sea level.
I hope these figures are up to date. We've recently had a census, you know. It was 15th probably in the 1950 census, but...
Yes, these are figures that are 2 years old, at least.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
A couple from Cannes on the French Riviera write, where shall we go?
Try Chester, Pennsylvania. I've never been there, but they say it's hard to beat in the spring. And if you do, be sure to pick up some of the lace that it's famous for. As an alternative, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend the Radish Festival in Oaxaca, Mexico. Pleasant thoughts of that event will keep coming back for many a year.
Yes. A note from a Mr. Pratt Boyd of Arizona. He writes, according to legend, if you throw a coin in Rome's Fountain of Trevi, you are destined to return to Roma someday. On a recent trip there, while low in funds, he said, I tossed a slug in the fountain. Does that mean I can never return to Roma?
Not necessarily. You might be invited back by the mafia.
Great sense of humor. Charlie Wendelkin, our travel editor. A final question for you, sir. What's the place of the week?
Lapland, Ray, in northern Norway and Sweden. It's hard to beat for those who like nightlife. It's dark 3 full months of the year.
Can we have his theme now, please? You've been listening to Charlie Wendelkin, Bob and Ray's travel editor,
Wendelkin.
who will never return. Now to the down cellar workshop of Mr. Science, where he's about to be visited by his little friend from next door, little Jimmy Schwab.
Oh, hello there, Jimmy. Come right in.
Golly, gee willikers. It's good to see you again, Mr.
Well,
Science.
nice to see you too, Jimmy.
Holy cats,
I think
leaping
we
lizards.
have an interesting experiment for us to try out today, Jimmy.
Oh, hot dog.
Did you know that for something to burn, you must have oxygen or air?
Wow, wait till I tell the kids at school that. Gee
That's
whiz.
right. That's right, Jimmy.
Oh,
Now, I'm going
dash
to...
my timbers.
What?
Dash my timbers.
I'm going to prove this oxygen theory for you. But you see this jug I have here?
Gad, Zookas, wait till I tell the kids at school I saw one of those.
It's a 1-gallon jug, Jimmy.
Oh, boy. Wait till I tell the kids at school I saw 1-gallon
And
jug.
it's half filled with high-octane gasoline, which I siphoned out of my automobile.
Wow, great Caesar's ghost.
Now, I'm going to pump all of the air out of the jug with my hand pump. And then, when I do that, I'll prove to you that fire will not burn where there's no oxygen. You ready?
Wowee, wait till I tell us kids at school I saw that, Mr. Science, whatever it was.
Yes. All right, now let's begin to pump the air out of the jug.
Taking the air out, huh?
Now, you notice
I'll
that
be cow-kicked.
the jug is firmly sealed there, so once we get all of the air out, there'll be no oxygen inside, right?
Yes. Boy, wait till I tell the kids at school I saw this kind of an experiment.
Oh, I think that ought to be about enough. I think it's all out now. I'm going to light this match, Jimmy. And
Golly.
remove the cap quickly from the jug and
Gallopin'
drop the match in. Wow.
Boy, my daddy's gonna hackle your bones. You ruined my suit.
I think
That
something
doddering
went,
old sheephead. Why didn't
something
you
went
even
wrong,
run, you
Jimmy.
big white guy?
I think the air got into the jug before the match did. That's probably why our little experiment didn't work.
You big chicken halibut.
Better luck next time.
Time now for Ask Dr. Dunstable, featuring the famed psychologist and author of the best-selling book, It's All in Your Head, Dr. Joyce Dunstable. Let's get to the first question.
All right, Olin.
Sent in by a 22-year-old young man who says, I have a very strong feeling that the whole world is against me. What shall I do?
Does he say anything else?
Yes, he says he lives at 23 Sycamore Street in Burlington, Vermont, and his name is Attila the Hun.
Well, he doesn't give me much to go on. I'll say this. I think he should change his attitude. Act as though he is liked.
I would have suggested that he changed his name instead of his...
And I suggest that you spend a lifetime in this field, Olin, as I have, before you start dispensing advice. Thank you. Next
Here's
question.
one from Mr. Nesser, who writes, Dear Doc, I used to be a proud and respected man in this community until my wife started constantly knocking me down in public.
Well, now that's an easy one, Mr. Nesser. Of course, in judo and other forms of self-defense will enable you to give a good account of yourself. I think...
He goes on to say, Doctor, I hadn't completed his letter.
You acted as though you had, Olin.
He says...
How long have you been on this program?
He says...
Not counting next week's.
My wife, of course, does knock me down physically. Oh, see, here's the end.
Oh.
Being only 87 pounds, but she has a rapier-like tongue with which she belittles me at the slightest provocation. Standing 6'6" and husky, public tongue lashings that make me crawl don't go well with my mane. I could belt her, but I fear it would reflect poorly on me.
Belting her would sully your mane, indeed. So I suggest that you meet her on her own ground, that of the barbed remark, the biting quip.
Well, he continues here.
What did he write, a book?
He says I have attempted to meet her on her own ground, that of the barbed remark, the biting quip. But I guess I'm no match for her trigger-fast mind. What shall I do?
Read on. Is there any more
No,
before
that's all there is.
I hope so. Perhaps you could memorize some of the remarks used by comedians to squelch hecklers, like, "Who let you out of your cage?" or "Take my wife, please," or "I miss my wife's cooking whenever possible," or...
She's had her face lifted so many times she talks through her nose.
Is that directed at me?
No, that's Henny Youngman's. I thought Mr. Nestor could use it on his wife, but I see our time is up, so can you have your closing word on how to achieve peace of mind?
Not enough people think about themselves. You should try to think about yourself all the time. Get to know yourself better. I've found that if you know anyone in your life, you should know yourself.
Be more self-centered, so to speak.
Yes.
Dr. Joyce Dunstable will return with another program of wise counsel in the not-too-distant future. Consult your palmist for time and station.
And a real sissy theme serves to introduce our next program. Hi there, fact fans. Welcome to the new Bob and Ray educational feature called Do You Expect Us to Believe That? It's a program of interesting, albeit questionable facts about this fascinating world everyone listening to me now lives in. Now, here is Bob with the first fact tidbit.
Right you are, Ray. Did you know that Monsieur Émile Truchet of Lausanne, Switzerland, owns a full-grown St. Bernard dog that is no bigger than a Cocker Spaniel?
Check one. There is a Dr. P.Z. Foote living in Azusa, California, who is a dentist and does quite poorly. Do you know that famous gambler Frank Rinke has proven that bad luck is the largest single contributory factor to gambling losses?
Italy's famed Leaning Tower of Pisa does not lean at all. It's an optical illusion created by the fact that the sidewalk below runs sharply downhill.
Disregarding the advice of his merchant friends, Arim Akbar of the small village of Kababaville in the Libyan desert opened up a rainwear shop. And surprisingly, he did fairly well for a while. Then, of course, he went broke.
Thomas Hulo of Orlando, Florida, grew an orange 4.5 feet long.
I'm not going to swallow that one.
The Dutch Afrikaners could have won the Boer War if things had gone differently.
Check. King Maurice III of Gaul, who reigned for 50 years, wore his crown but once during the entire time, because it was much too big for him.
If someone gave Italy's famed Leaning Tower of Pisa a slight push, it would fall down.
Thomas Alva Edison, the Wizard of Prospect Park,
Menlo Park.
was an inveterate bulb snatcher, snatching as many as a dozen a week.
A Samoan sequin fish, much like humans do, eats 3 regular meals a day. Some even have between-meal snacks.
In Northern Ireland, the town of Sonyanearvikadverskrappattonl is pronounced only with great difficulty.
Well, nobody has to believe any of these. That's the nature of the feature. Do you expect us to believe that?
Would you play our sissy theme, please, as we sign off? Do you expect us to believe that? Incidentally, copies of today's broadcast may be obtained by simply writing to Bob.
Oh, no, they can't.
Making last-minute adjustments here. This is radio's Wally Ballou. I've just been given the signal that I'm on the radio, and I'm standing in the farmyard of Professor Groggins, who is beginning another year of rocket research. Is that the correct definition of your work, Professor?
Yes. Mr. Ballou, I was reading not too long ago in Popular Rocket magazine about a toy rocket that used bicarbonate of soda and citric acid powder.
That's right. Most of the young children, the scientific-minded kids these days, have these small rockets which are propelled that way.
Yes. Well, now, when you add water to those two chemicals, it fizzes in the back of the rocket, builds up pressure, and then blasts off the rocket to what I understand will be a fantastic height. Now, I'm using in mine over 3,000 pounds. 3,000. That's 1.5 tons of bicarb and citric acid, and I'm going to use 500 gallons of water. Now,
Boy, that would,
you'd
you
like
could
to
eat
come
a lot
into
of
the,
onions with that much bicarbonate, I guess.
If you come into the chicken coop, this is serving as the blockhouse for my test.
This is just going to be a static test. You won't be taking off or anything.
No, it's just to see if this stuff has enough
Oomph.
explosion.
Well, in this, do you have to do a countdown when you're
Yeah,
having
I
a
do.
test
Oh,
like
sure,
this?
sure.
Well, will you explain what you're doing then?
30, 29.
Now he's counting down from 30.
28.
Did you just pick that arbitrarily?
Well, I'm going to skip quickly now to 15.
Oh, I
Now
see.
I'm going to add the water in. 14.
Into the bicarbonate
Yes.
goes the water.
Keep your eyes now. Be looking through this small slit in the chicken coop. Keep your eye on that. See what happens, huh?
Okay, I see chickens in there.
13. 10. 9. 8.
You're not very,
4. 3, 2,
Careful,
1.
you're down to 0
Now,
yet?
10.
Now he's starting back at 10.
10. I'll go down 2s. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0.
Blast off.
Yeah.
Have you worked this out
water
on
is,
paper so you know it's going to work, or?
I don't believe in figuring anything out on paper. It's one thing I've never permitted myself to do. I like to get out and use the trial and error
I
method.
think something is happening in there now. Oh, there it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Groggins, I think this time has been successful. A tremendous surge of power from this bicarbonate citric acid.
Oh, here comes the fire chief. Look, I'm in trouble this time.
Say, this is making
it's
an awful
covered
mess.
with bicarbonate and citric acid and water. My suit is ruined. Oh,
That's the story from Herkimer, ladies and gentlemen. Wally Ballou
boy.
covering this rather unsuccessful attempt
well,
by
my heartburn is gone.
Professor Groggins to get the rocket off the ground again. And now back to our main studios.
Now,
SMI.
will the two spellers come over here and sign in, please? You are Ms. Ruth Grepley, is that right?
Grappling.
Chelsea, Massachusetts. And who's the gentleman here with you, your finalist contestant here?
Well, I don't know. He's from out in the west someplace. I think he's from out Oregon or Washington. I don't know. I better ask
Let me
him.
look at the card here.
Well, I'm from out there, yes.
Is that Harvey L. Updike?
Yes.
I see on the card. Mr. Updike, Ms. Grepley, you know, of course, what this means. You have been brought here at our expense, having won the spelling championships of the West Coast and the East Coast, respectively. And what word did you win the West Coast championship on, Mr. Updike?
Oh, not funny. I can't think.
Because you think
Machinery.
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 Thing as important
All
as
goofed
that.
it, all the
You would
others.
remember. And Ms. Grepley, what was the word that you won the East Coast championship on? Do you know?
Healthful.
Healthful. Healthful.
Well, how do you spell that?
Healthful. Healthful.
Hmm.
Well, you look askance. What's the matter?
Well, I'm afraid that shouldn't be here. I didn't
Well, why is
spell
that?
it that way.
How'd you spell it, miss?
Helthth.
Oh, well, that's wrong. They must have overlooked it.
F-U-L.
I don't know whether...
Well, I don't. I'm sorry, but I.
Okay, then, you want to get up on the platforms. You, Mrs. Grepley, over there on that one, and you, Mr. Updike, on that one.
Well, as I say, I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing or not, Mr. Bob.
Well, we can declare a default if, in the opinion
Because
of
I
the
don't want
judge.
to lose my amateur status, or I don't want to be
All right, well,
forbidden.
let's spin the big barrel and see just which word will go to which contestant. You spin the barrel, please, Al Shaper. Barrel with its gay bells on it. Here we are with a word assigned to Miss Ruth Grepley of Chelsea, Massachusetts. You ready, Miss Grepley?
Yeah.
Your word is healthful. Miss Grepley, you heard the word, did you?
I know. I'm thinking.
Well, let me remind you, this was the word that won your East Coast championship. You should remember it, and certainly it's a coincidence, despite the fact that... would you rather wait?
I think it's. Could I wait?
Yes.
I'd love to wait.
All right, well, let's go to Mr. Updike then, shall we?
Okay.
And spin the barrel again, Al Shaker. Certainly the most mixed up kind. Here is the word for Mr. Updike. Your word is machinery, sir.
Oh, machinery. That's the one.
That is the one you
That's
won.
the one
with.
I won with. Machinery. MACHINERY. Machinery.
You want to let it go at that? Leave it that way?
No, that isn't right, huh? Well,
I didn't say that, but I just wanted to be sure that was your
well,
definitive answer.
I don't have much confidence in myself when you say...
You want to try spelling it just once more, Mr. Updike?
Well, when you
Just to
say
be
you
sure.
want to leave it that way, I get scared. Machinery. M-A-S-H, mash, E-E, machine, N-A-R-Y,
I'm
machinery.
terribly sorry. That is wrong. And you go down on this round, Mr. Updike. It should have been spelled MACHINERY. And we'll be back with our next round in just a little while, so be sure and stay tuned. Back now at the Bob and Ray Grand National Spelling Bee and the finals, and we're ready with Miss Grepley. And do you want the same word or another word?
No, another
ma'am?
one, please.
All right. Here's the word for Ms. Ruth Grepley. It is health. You're kind of in a rut, Miss Grepley. I don't know how this has worked out this way.
Health. Could I wait and think?
No, you'll have to spell this one because you haven't spelled any word yet.
H-E-A-L...
T.
T...
H. H.
H.
H. H-E-A-L-T-H, and Miss Grepley is the winner.
Oh, wait
And-
a minute.
You coming down off the platform?
I've been down off the platform for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna...
All right, Mr. Updike.
I'm gonna hang a fat lip on you there, Mr. Bob.
You have a beef of some kind?
You bet I do. You didn't help me, and I had it spelled right
I'm
in the
not
first
supposed
place.
to help any of the contestants.
But
sir.
you did. I
think you know
heard
that.
you helping that Miss Grepley there, or whatever her name is.
Just with a couple of letters, but I
Well,
know
a
she
couple
knew
of
I was
letters,
trying to
that's the
speed
whole
up.
thing.
I was only trying to speed up the program because we were lagging there for a bit, and we have time limitations, as you know. Miss Grepley, you're the winner. You
Thank
receive
you.
this beautiful silver loving cup, and of course your 1 week all expense vacation in New York.
Oh,
Hope
that's
you have a wonderful
wonderful.
time.
And then what does the gentleman get?
Nothing. Very glad that you both were able to come. Thanks for being a good sport, Mr. Updike, and better luck next year, sir.
Well, I'm not going to enter your contest next year. No, sirree, Bob.
Where's Mr. Lawrence Welk of Hollywood, California? Is he here in our...
Right here.
Would you come over here, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Welk, and certainly a wonderful thrill for today to welcome you here to our microphones. Presume you're in town for a short stay, maybe a TV show or two.
Well, I'm going to try to get to see a couple of TV shows.
Tell me this, Ray and I remember years ago when we both did record shows, 15, 16 years ago, and one of the old world transcription library strong points was Lawrence Welk and his orchestra. And you don't seem to have changed much in all that time. I wonder if you could fill us in a little bit on it, Larry.
What?
Well, I mean, it was known then as champagne music, and of course it still is today. Isn't that so?
Well, I had piano lessons as a kid, but I didn't have much aptitude
Certainly,
for music, and
When did you take up the accordion, actually?
I never took up the accordion. No,
You mean
I
it's
took
played
piano
by
lessons.
somebody else?
What do you mean?
You
I
fake it
guess
or
so.
what?
What do you mean, fake it? Have I got an accordion with me?
Well, no, you
I'm
don't
not
have
trying
one
to
with
fake
you.
an accordion.
No, I don't mean now. I mean when you're up there on the stage and when everybody's looking at you and the band is playing.
I don't know
who
what
plays
you
the
mean.
accordion for you?
The only stage I've been up on, as you say, was back home at the Elks Club. We gave a little thing the other night.
Well, understandably modest is Mr. Lawrence Welk, but you've certainly had phenomenal success,
Well, thank
Larry.
you. Well, it went over pretty well, what we did there.
What was that, your TV show or what?
No, it was just for the members of the club. We put on a little party. And it was very good. It went over very well. I didn't know
What
how you'd
about,
know about it, though.
Champagne music and all that.
I don't know what you mean. We had the orchestra, the Elks Orchestra, but that's just a piano and a drum and a trumpet.
It wasn't Lawrence Welk?
No, it isn't my orchestra, no. Andy McGill has the orchestra. Andy
Well,
and Freddie and Sam,
Well, now, aren't you the popular band leader whose music has made everybody sit up and take notice?
Gee, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking...
Tell us about the little champagne lady, will you?
You mean the wife?
Well, is she a wife?
Well, I don't know who you're talking about. My wife, I could hardly call her the little champagne lady. She stands about 6'2", goes
Wait
about
a
300
minute now.
pounds.
You mean you are not the recording and television star, the prominent band leader, Lawrence
No,
Welk?
I'm Lawrence Welk. I work in a haberdashery.
You're not Lawrence Welk, the Lawrence
I'm
Welk.
Larry Welk, really. And I'm Lawrence, Laurence.
Oh. Well, here again, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately we have made rather an error. We thought, looking over the audience cards, that we had Lawrence Welk here in our studio today. Unfortunately, the
No, I
Lawrence
don't
Welk
think
in our
so,
audience
no.
works in a haberdashery store.
That's right.
And I can only say that we're chagrined beyond words.
Well, I'm very sorry about that. I just came in to watch a show, and you suddenly make me an
Look,
idiot.
it's not your fault.
How can I help it if I'm not Lawrence Welk? You know, I am Lawrence Welk.
I know
but I'm
you.
not Lawrence Welk.
You're not the Lawrence Welk.
I'm the
It's all
Lawrence
right.
Welk as far as I'm
Well,
concerned.
I know, but you're not the one we were thinking of. That's what I mean.
Oh.
No hard feelings.
Okay.
Sorry to have taken all your time up. My name is Sherlock Sage. I was sitting in my Baker Street lodgings one cool October afternoon when Dr. Clyde rapped on the door and I shouted, "Who's there?"
It's me.
Knowing immediately it was Dr. Clyde, I made my way to the door to open it. There, standing before me, was Clyde himself, but looking like he had never looked before.
Great Scott, Sage.
Yes. Clyde, what's the matter with you, man?
It's a dreadful thing. I was...
Here, come in out of the cold.
Yes.
Take off your greatcoat.
It's a dreadful thing happened to me, Sage.
Well, tell me about it, Clyde. Here, maybe you'd better sit down first. I had never seen Dr. Clyde look as upset as he did this very moment. And as he sat there by the flickering embers of the fire, I could tell that something was preying on his mind.
Oh, Sage, I saw something I hope I never live to see again.
Well, what was it, Clyde?
I was taking a canter through the park just an hour and a half ago.
Yes.
I pulled up short there by the statue to Lord Nelson. Lord love it, duck, Sage, what happened then would frighten any human being.
At this point, Dr. Clyde seemed to drift into a sort of stupor, and he sat gazing into the fire, saying nothing but breathing heavily. And about a half hour later, he came to enough to say,
Would you have just a spot of port, Sage?
"Yes, I'll get it for you, Clyde."
What I saw today.
Hello, what's this?
What, Sage?
There's not a drop of port left in this decanter, Clyde. It was full this morning. There's some funny things going on here.
Sage, look there by your collection of ancient firearms.
Now, what is it, Clyde?
Hanging over the collection. Look. Dust. I've never seen so much dust, Sage.
Yes, but in that dust, Clyde, are fingerprints of one who will lead us to the perpetrator of this dastardly crime.
Sage!
Yes, Clyde?
Over here, look out the window. That man standing by the lamppost below.
I've been watching him all afternoon, Clyde. I think we'll find that he has the answer to our problem.
Look, keep staring at this window.
finish this
Well,
today?
Clyde, I don't
that's
know.
all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, actor.
Oh, there were several more pages there.
I was going crazy with the orchestra playing all the little stings in there.
Oh, it sure did.
Boy, that really made the show sting. Happy to welcome back to our studio today, after an absence of several weeks, Mr. Clyde L. Hap Whartney, who is the Regional Interbureau Coordinator of Administrative Coordination for the Eastern States and the Midwest. Hap, it's real nice to see you here today. I notice that you're about to have your shoes shined, so if you'll just pull the microphone over so that you can just go ahead with what you're doing, we'll say...
Well, first of all, Mr. Elliott, I want to thank you, your partner, and your employers here at this great network for making available to me in my office this free radio time.
Well, it certainly is always a pleasure to see you and to give you time to bring us up to date on what's been going on at the office. I presume now, Hap, that, or by now, you have straightened out the trouble with the desks and the payroll. I know that you were covering the payroll yourself for several months. The office staff and field representatives were being paid by you yourself. But
no, that's not true. I wasn't paying them. In fact, they haven't been paid in almost 9 months. And that's why, of course, there's a morale thing there. I get fisheye looks every time I go into the office in the morning.
Of course.
All these people that I've gone ahead and hired are beginning to look for a little compensation for their efforts.
Looking askance,
huh? What's that?
They're looking askance when you come in.
Yes, and I've been to Washington trying to determine who I should see. I see I'm not fully up to date on exactly what division we're in down there.
Well, have they been forwarding directives to you so that you at least have a name, a place to...
No, the only thing I have, of course, is a book of Army regulations.
Mm-hmm.
See, my office handles the New England states, Delaware, and Indiana. And I operate from my main office in Rutland.
Well, they haven't added any more territory to your already heavy area.
See, Mr. Elliott, my problem is one of guidance. I'm not too sure, as I said, who our immediate supervisor is in Washington.
Well, what have you done to find out, Hap?
Well,
I've heard this so
called,
many times. You've come up here time and time again. You seem to be floundering, just going along from day to day and not trying to improve
Well,
the
I'm just
situation.
trying to coordinate our interbureaus as best I can. I'm trying to do a job that my supervisor, whoever it may be, and the people will be satisfied with our work. That's all I can do.
Well, you've been listening to Mr. Clyde L. Hap Whartney, who is the regional coordinator of Interbureau Administration for the Northeast
Bob,
states and Indiana.
If I may be that
Yes.
familiar, I want to thank you before I go and your employers of this great network for making available to my office this free radio time.
Well, we'll look for you again within the next few weeks.
And now, Fink Bicycle Clips. Fink, P-H-I-N-Q-U-E. The bicycle clips made to keep your trousers from being caught in the bicycle chain as you pedal brings you another episode of Matt Neffer, boy's spot welder.
Today we join Matt Neffer and his friend Todd after a busy day at the foundry in Matt's expensively appointed apartment. We hear...
Over here, Matt, in the foyer.
Oh, just a minute. You called me Matt.
I'm sorry, Todd. I'm all confused. I don't know whether I'm coming or coming, and I'm so thoroughly mixed up.
You've had so much on your mind lately, Matt, that...
Coming or
Going.
Going, Todd.
You've just been able to get to work on time and haven't been able to think about anything.
Over here, back of the duck press.
I know you've been worried about this whole thing, Matt, but you know that every cloud has a silver... every...
Silver,
Behind every cloud, there's a silver...
Spoon.
No. Over here by the bookcase.
Yes. Lining.
Lining.
Lining, Todd.
Right. Every cloud has a silver lining, Matt, and if you look on the bright side of things, I'm sure you'll discover that into each life a little.
Out here in the kitchen, looks like rain, Todd.
Little rain must fall, yes.
Clouding up there, I noticed, in the south. That drain, I suppose I should call the superintendent. Of course, I've been carrying on my
Experiments, Matt?
experiments here in the kitchen, Todd, and probably has clogged up the drain somewhat.
Well, at least you've had the foresight to get the experiments out of the way before the big work at the foundry.
And I've drained it.
You know, of course, that a stitch in time saves.
Say, Todd, do you have Bertha's address?
9 Sparrow Road. 9. Stitch in time saves 9, Matt. I was trying to think of.
Todd, I don't know how to break this to you, but I think it's time that you be told.
You mean you're going to tell me what's been on your mind all of these weeks?
If I can.
What's been preying on your conscience, perhaps, or keeping you from getting your mind on your...
I haven't had a night's sleep just thinking...
Wait a minute, getting your mind on
it.
Getting your mind on your...
Work.
Getting your mind on your work.
Work, but it's...
You have a memory as long as a...
As long as a... as long
memory
as
is as long... Well, Matt certainly is in a state of upset. But over what? And will he be able to tell his friend Todd what it is? Be sure and join us next time when we'll hear Matt say,
I'm sick.
in the next episode of Matt Neffer, Boy Spot Welding King of the World. We're just about to go into an interesting story here when the phone rang, and inasmuch as it's a call from Steve Bosco, we decided to put it on right now. Steve, you still there on the line?
Hello, Ray?
No,
this
this is Bob.
Is Steve.
Wait,
Ray, when you get off there just a second.
Steve,
Bob.
Look, you're starting out wrong again. This
Hey,
is
Bob?
Yeah, Bob.
Bob, Steve Bosco.
Hi, Steve.
How's everything going?
We're waiting for your
Well,
report.
the T's are all heading north, as you know, and it's just a matter of days now before the race for the flag starts.
Right-o.
Search for the gunfalon.
That's right, Steve.
You have teams in each league that'll be going all summer now trying to win the old flag.
we
bring
know
home
that.
The bacon.
We know that.
Checking through, the St. Louis Brownies look great this year, like the Philadelphia A's. The Braves look great. And I understand Braves feel here in Boston is all set, ready for the big
Well, wait a
opening
minute
game.
now. You've been down
Now,
with the
then, here's
teams.
Hello, Bob.
Steve, wait
hey,
a minute.
Ray, get off
Hello-
there.
No, this is Bob. Wait a
This
minute.
is Steve.
Right. Hello,
Hi,
Steve.
Ray. How are you?
Bob,
This
no.
is Steve.
Wait a minute.
Hey, look.
Now, look,
Hey,
you've been
look.
down... Hello?
I'm in trouble, you know what?
Oh, now, wait a minute. You haven't even reported on the...
I got carried away again, and I've been signing checks, Ted Klazuski.
Oh, look,
and
Steve...
I spelled it wrong, and they picked me up right away.
Steve, look, you've done this before. Last year was
Hello,
Ford
Ray,
Frick.
fella. Steve,
Here-
boy.
No, this is
Hey,
Bob.
how are you? How's
Steve,
things in the big town?
you've been down
the
there for
Yankees are gonna
6
play
weeks.
There. They'll play all their home games
Hello.
at the Yankee Stadium.
Steve?
Make a note of it. Hello.
Hello.
Steve.
What team
Hi,
do you
Ray.
pick?
Hey,
wait.
here's the thing. If you'd send me some money, about $500, send it to the most expensive hotel in Charlotte, North
But
Carolina.
you get us into this every time you call.
Thanks a lot, fellas.
You haven't called
you
for
won't
2 weeks.
regret it. This is Steve Bosco, rounding third, being thrown out at home.
And now, as a sustaining feature, here is One Fella's Family. Today's episode, entitled By the Seawall, is taken from book V.I., chapter I. It's a little after 10 in the morning as we look in on the family now, and we see Mother and Father preparing to go down by the seawall with a boxed lunch, and we hear Father say,
Fanny, a beautiful day for a picnic.
Beautiful day.
The birds are singing, the rose bushes are trimmed.
This is a lovely time of the year, but then there's something sad about it, too. Oh, you know, you're sitting on the deviled eggs.
Oh.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. Well, we've got enough picnic
Well.
without that anyway.
Why don't you look before you sit down anyway? Honestly.
I was noticing this morning the path down to the seawall seems to be growing up with weeds and vines.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, clear day, nevertheless.
Hey, look, way off.
What's
That a boat?
Yeah, looks like a boat, Fanny.
What's that mean? That signal?
Someone just jumped overboard. Looks
What?
as if he's trying to swim to shore. I can't see from here.
Hello?
Call a bit louder, Fanny.
Well, I don't have a strong voice. Why don't you call?
Hello out there.
Yes?
Yeah, we just saw you jump off your boat.
Well, it was sinking.
Yeah, the boat was sinking, Fanny.
Well, I thought that signal meant something like that.
We thought it meant something like
Look,
that.
I don't want to cause you any trouble, but I just went down the second time.
Could you speak up a little louder, please?
I was saying, I've gone down twice now, and
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere where the third time, and you know, it's so if either one of you could swim, or could you go to a phone or something like that?
Fanny wants us to go to the telephone.
Well, by the time we got to the phone, it would be... Well, I'll try.
Phone is out on the veranda.
Yeah,
Take her quite a while to get there.
in that case, then, so long.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have the toasted ham, or did you want the plain?
Just the plane for me. Too
All
bad
right.
about his boat.
Yes, but it's always fun here by the seawall.
Yeah.
You have been listening to One Fella's Family, brought to you as a sustaining feature here on the Bob and Ray Show. Today's episode, entitled By the Seawall, was taken from Book VI, Chapter IIV, IIX, IVII. One Fella's Family is written and produced by T. Wilson Messy. This is a Messy production. Wally Ballou is standing by now with a Bob and Ray microphone at the Summer Garden Theater, which is the scene of the opening of a much ballyhooed film called The Really Great Story, which has a star-studded cast. Wally Ballou is standing by there now, so come in, please.
Wally Ballou outside the Summer Garden Theater in our broadcast vantage point, where all of the stars of this motion picture, The Really Great Story, are expected to be passing in just a few moments. And we'll get a few words from them if we can as they make their way into the crowded lobby here for the premiere of this film. While we're waiting for the first of the stars to arrive, I would like to chat with the gentleman who has seen many a premiere of this sort. He is an usher, Anthony Nostrum. I wonder, Anthony, in the time we're waiting here, if you could just chat with me a little bit and kind of fill in time, in as much as I don't have any local color particular to make.
Well, Mr. Below...
Wait just a minute, Anthony.
Yes.
There was a star. The first star, I think, just came in. It might have been Charlton Heston. I'm
went
not sure.
to ushering
Back to
school.
you, Anthony Nostrum.
Yeah. I went to ushering school in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
Used my GI Bill of rights on that.
And how long did it take before you graduated, Anthony?
Well, they had an accelerated course for we fellas, that is, we vets at the time.
Uh-huh.
It was 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Well, and it covered almost everything, but it was a full day, and
Just
we
pass
had
by,
to,
folks.
cram
Go
it
ahead,
all in
Anthony.
with a lot of homework and everything. But we had graduation 3 weeks
Well,
later.
excuse me just a minute, Anthony.
were
I just want to look around and be
two.
sure no other
Yes,
stars
there were two,
creeping up on me
out
that
of
I'll
a class
miss.
of 15
Yeah, just a minute.
who didn't graduate, which is pretty good, I think.
No, nobody coming
So,
down.
I don't know what the percentage would be.
I've heard that, well, I missed that one.
It's
I
fine.
think it was
tell you,
Robert
ushering has its
Preston, ladies and gentlemen, just
has its,
passed.
Has its happy moments and there's sad moments. For instance, when somebody comes to you and says that they lost their glasses, I mean, that's sad.
Uh-huh.
And a little while later, a fella come by and he'll say, I found these glasses. And that makes you happy. So it's a little give and take in the ushering.
That was probably Dean Martin who
Taking,
just passed us, lady,
Taking
or else
people
Frank
down.
Sinatra.
It's always
Sure.
a real wonderful feeling for an usher to give a person a nice
I can
seat,
imagine.
you know?
I can imagine there's gratification there.
Yes, there is a sense of fulfillment. On the other hand, there's a dreadful feeling when you know you're putting somebody in a
Who was
bad
that,
seat.
engineer?
And you know that the person
just a minute after. The
that you're
engineer
putting
thinks
in
it was
the,
Yves Montand and Simone Signoret, but he isn't quite sure. They've
The
already
point-
passed our vantage point anyway, and I
The,
think our time is just about up until something more exciting happens here at the Summer Garden
Cut it
Theater.
out, cut it.
Wally Ballou,
Thank you.
returning.
Wally Ballou over there, covering the opening of the really great story, and a really great reporting story by Wally.